So we're going to move on now to thinking outside the box, pre-love and patient experience. This sounds really exciting. And this is going to be presented by Michaela Firth, Marc, Yerrell, and we're also going to have a separate presentation from Martin Farrier. So I'm going to hand over to Michaela, and they're going to be talking about their pre-love campaign that they had, which was about saving a lot of money. I'm going to let them share how much through innovation and efficiency. So is Michaela and Marc, are they on the call?
Good afternoon, it's Marc. Michaela couldn't make it today, I'm afraid.
Hi.
Am I still with you?
Hi, Marc. Yeah, we can hear you.
Excellent.
Go ahead. We've got your slide up on the screen.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, so Michaela couldn't make it today, as I say. But hello, my name's Marc Yerrell, and I'm the Support Services Supervisor at Milton Keynes Hospital NHS Foundation Trust. Truly honoured to have been invited to speak today, so thank you very much for having me. So I'm here to share the story of my pledges for NHS Change Day 2014. Now, back in April last year, I was undertaking an inspection of our recycling and refuse area, as I do on a regular basis. And I happened to notice two members of staff breaking up some furniture and throwing it into a skip. So I went over and spoke to them, and they told me although the furniture was perfectly reusable and in good condition, they had nowhere to store the items, and the only option was to either immediately redistribute the items or dispose of them. So after witnessing this, I paced up and down a little, very frustrated with what I'd seen, and I thought to myself there must be a better way of handling used furniture and unwanted items. But I was fully aware of the space limitations we had within the hospital. Now, I suddenly had a eureka moment, and this is how Pre-Loved was born. I originally called my scheme Reduce, Reuse and Recycle, but a few months into planning, a colleague from communications suggested that we use something a little bit simpler, so we decided to change the name to Pre-Loved. Now, my idea for Pre-Loved was pretty simple. I wanted to have a dedicated area to store items, a catalogue system, and a website so people could view and ask for any items that we had available. I also wanted to ensure that we reviewed every single piece of furniture or equipment that was picked up as junk to see if it could potentially be reused. With the help of some senior colleagues, I drew up an informal business plan. I secured funding from my general manager for a shipping container, and this is what we used as our dedicated storage area. Now, our Chief Executive, Joe Harrison, he was very supportive of Pre-Loved. He gave me all the support and backing I needed it, whenever I needed it. And this wasn't the first time Joe's taken an interest in my work. He previously supported me with Locking Wheelchair Initiative and helped me to secure some wheelchairs in the past. So Joe was very much in there with me, and we jointly launched Pre-Loved on a small scale in December 2013. Our dedicated internet site went live at Milton Keynes shortly after. Within an hour of putting our first furniture online, it went within the first hour. It's been very successful. Now, the full launch of Pre-Loved was on the 3rd of March for NHS Change Day, and I pledged to save the hospital £20,000 in the first year by encouraging wards to reuse and recycle as opposed to buying items from new. The more furniture we reuse, the bigger the savings we get. Now, Pre-Loved's not about reusing items that have clearly served their purpose. It's about finding those items that might just need a little bit of TLC. For example, a new lock on a filing cabinet, or a few adjustments to a chair, or maybe some cleaning solution to remove some marker pen off a whiteboard. Any item that's clearly not suitable for Pre-Loved is recycled in the most environmentally friendly and cost-effective way possible. Now, we've had all manner of items appear on Pre-Loved, from desks to filing cabinets, chairs, small electrical equipment, lockers, and even stationery. And as I previously mentioned, my team and I assess every single piece of furniture that is unwanted in the hospital to check for its reusability factor. Since NHS Change Day in March, Pre-Loved has reused over 120 large items, saving an estimated £7,000 and around 2 tonnes in weight of material from the scrap heap. We are set not only to meet the 20k pledge targets, but to exceed it, and well before March 2015. Now, this isn't just a one-year project. Pre-Loved is an ongoing thing, and it will continue to generate savings year after year. In addition to fully launching Pre-Loved for NHS Change Day, we decided to hold a special Pre-Loved clothing sale for both staff and outside people to enjoy. The clothing sale quickly grew into an organisational pledge, and what started as a fairly low-profile event actually became something a lot bigger. The whole of MK Hospital got behind the initiative, and we received hundreds upon hundreds of bags of used clothing from members of staff to sell during the sale. We extended into the local community, and we managed to get the backing of the MK Dons and a local Scouts group. The event itself was very well publicised, with both our local papers getting on board, and the MK Dons actually had an electronic advertising board during the home match, which promoted the scheme further. The sale itself was a huge success. Many people visited, and we raised over £500 for the hospital charity on the day. And we also generated a lot of interest and publicity for Pre-Love, the main scheme. Other NHS hospitals contacted me saying they wanted to set something up similar. So in summary, Pre-Love started as an idea, and it's now an established brand at Milton Keynes Hospital. All staff know about it, and they all use it on a daily basis. And I'm confident Pre-Love will only get bigger and better as we continue on our quest to reduce our carbon footprints by reusing and recycling. The hospital actively wants to be a good corporate citizen, and I'm proud that Pre-Love is helping us meet our objective. I may have come up with this idea, but so many other people have helped make it all possible. They know who they are, and I thank every single one of them. I'm extremely proud to be part of the team at Milton Keynes Hospital, and I cannot wait to implement some new initiatives in the future. Now, if anybody does want to know more about the scheme, feel free to get in touch with me, and feel free to contact me on Twitter. It's @Yerrell1, and I think that's come across your screen a couple of times now. Once again, thank you for your interest in our Pre-Love campaign and pledge, and any questions are appreciated.
Thank you, Mark. Absolutely amazing. And I'm really looking forward to chatting a bit more with you after Martin's presentation.
Okay,
so
thank you.
For that. Yeah, so don't go.
I'll still be here.
Questions in a moment. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to go over now to Dr. Martin Farrier from Wigan and Foundation Trust. And I'm going to ask you to present, Martin, for about 10 minutes, and then we'll come back with any questions. So over to you. Tell us about your pledge.
Hello, Jackie.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Off you go.
Waiting to use my screen share, so I need to be able to share my screen. I haven't got a button to share it yet.
Okay. Are you sorting that out, Paul?
Hi, it's Nina moonlighting as Paul right now. Martin, I've given you presenter control. So if you just go to the top of go to the top of your screen and click on share, and then say my desktop.
Share, yeah. My desktop. Okay. Paul sent me a button last time.
Oh, sorry. Don't know how to do that. Sorry about that.
You'll need to tell me when I'm actually actively sharing and when I'm not.
Yeah, you're sharing your desktop now.
Great. Okay. Can you see my desktop now? Is that okay?
We can, yes.
Excellent. Good. In which case, my name is Michaela Farrier, and I'm Associate Medical Director at Wigan. I wasn't actually when I made this pledge, and I wanted to talk to you about the pledges that I have made. I've actually made 3 of them. Funny thing about pledges is that when you make them, especially when I made this one, I didn't actually expect to be sharing it with anybody other than myself. And so it was a pledge to me, really. But in order to explain it properly and explain why it links up with the other 2 pledges, I need to tell you a story. But my first pledge was that I would work tirelessly as Associate Medical Director to ensure that our patients got the best care we could deliver. And that was at a point in time when my job was changing. I was becoming Associate Medical Director. And it's about core values. It's about me not stepping away from the things that I absolutely believe in. But I need to tell you the story of what I believe in. The cartoon there is one of my favourites. It's a Larson cartoon. It's about lemmings, and lemmings who are diving into the sea, and one of them has a life buoy on. I love the cartoon. When Larson did it, it was about evolution of the species, and you can see it that way, but you can also see it in about leadership and about finding life buoys. And I've spent a lot of time trying to find life buoys to make a difference to outcomes for people. Our story has lasted some 7 years, and I will tell you the story of our life boys, if I may. We spent a lot of time trying to work out what it is that we could do in order to change outcomes. 7 years ago, we had problems with raised mortality rates in our organisation, and we didn't really understand what the problem was. So we set off on a journey which was to try and understand why people died, what happened, what went wrong in our organisations we cared for people. We set up a process which I've been doing every week for the last 7 years. In fact, I've only just finished doing it today. What we do is we go down and we look through all of the notes of the patients who died, and we concentrate on the ones who didn't go to intensive care and the ones who weren't on the care of the dying pathway. We do that on a Friday, so I've just done that. I'll go home a bit later on and I'll write that up, and then on Monday morning I will send the results out to 500 of my best friends. The 500 is probably a little more than a 500, it's somewhere under 1,000, but it's a lot of people within our organisation, and of course it includes all of the clinicians. If you do that, you can imagine it generates a fair bit of discussion, and the discussion is really the bit that we're trying to get to. The discussion is about what we think is wrong, whether we can agree on things that aren't as they should be, and whether we can do something better in the future. The discussion leads to us making some agreements, about life buoys that we think we might be able to do something about. So here's an example of something which has been a problem and something which we've been able to get to. So if we find an area where there is raised mortality, evidence of harm, so for instance, I could find evidence of antibiotics not being given in patients who have infections, and something which we could do about it, meaning that we could treat sepsis better, we can make sure that we give the antibiotics and we give them quickly, then we can do something better with sepsis care. Now that happened in our organisation, and we did a lot of work on improving outcomes from sepsis. But it isn't the only thing that we've done. We've done various other bits and pieces. We've looked at our escalation process and changed the way in which escalation happens in our organisation. We've looked at checklists and provided various different sorts of checklists, including the one that you can see, which is a wardrobe checklist. We found various bits and pieces that have gone wrong. So the guy in the chair is about frail elderly people. He isn't frail and elderly, but what we found was that frail elderly people often got cold in our hospital, and we thought that was possibly about the environment. We thought maybe we weren't turning the heating on enough, but actually that wasn't the issue. What was is that frail elderly people don't generate much heat, and if you put lots of blankets on them to keep them warm, you actually insulate them from the warm, and they don't get any warmer. You in fact make them colder. What you have to do is put on an active heating blanket and warm them up. This was something that we hadn't really understood, and when we bought the active heating blankets, it made a world of difference to being able to make sure that people stayed warm when they were ill. We found various other bits and pieces. Here's another one about Parkinson's disease. We know that when people come in with Parkinson's, they're often put nil by mouth, which causes an absolute mess with their medicines. They then go stiff, they can't swallow even more than they could before, and it all goes wrong. So what we did was we put packs into our A&E and set up a new drug chart for Parkinson's in order to make sure that people got their medicines delivered quickly. Talking about aspiration pneumonia, because Parkinson's are particularly at risk of aspiration pneumonia, we've set up work to try and reduce the rate of aspiration pneumonia. That work goes on about raising bed ends and about mouthwash. That's something that's happening now. We then set up work, or rather, as a consequence of that, we set up work which is about trying to identify the things that we thought were the most important preventable harms. That's our list we generated last year. We generated a list for that about 2 years previously as well. And it's a list of work which we think that we need to do, and a list of life buoys, things that we might be able to do to change outcomes in our organisation. With the list of life buoys, we decided that we needed a whole set of people in order to help us deliver those, to find out ways of making sure that we could improve things for the patients who are at risk or who have problems in our organisation. So we set up something called Quality Champions. We did that about 2 years ago. Quality Champions are people who volunteered to become part of our process, to take on work. And we provide them with a 3-day training in quality improvement technology or quality improvement techniques. And And we then ask them if they will take on a project, and if they do that, we give them a bronze badge. That's their badges that we wear around the organisation all the time. And if they deliver some improvement, we give them a silver badge, and if you do that on a big scale, you get a gold badge. That's my badge, incidentally. We share that with a lot of people, and we now have 190 people who've joined in with our Quality Champions program. They've volunteered to do so, and they've taken on about 60 projects now to improve outcomes in our organisation. And things have generally gone well. We know that at the beginning of our organisational problems, we had more deaths than we thought was appropriate as we measure against everybody else. And the number of people who die in our organisation has come down a great deal. That's not just about the work that we've done, it's been about all sorts of other things that are going on in society around us. But the fact is that fewer people die in our organisation. Now, that was our story. That was the things that have happened to us. So back to my lemmings. The lemmings are diving into the water. They are leaping forward, and the person at the front is running forward and taking them quickly, which isn't necessarily the right thing to do. I know that in my world, I've moved forward in the hierarchy. I'm to the front of the hierarchy. But the thing is, and that was the pledge that I made first, I need to remember the core values that I have and make sure that I hold true to those core values and don't just leap off the front like the rest of the lemmings. Now, if you want to improve things, improve outcomes, then we need a system by which we can hand out the lifebuoys. It's one thing to have a good idea of how I might be able to swim, but it's an awful lot better if I can find a way in which I can get other people involved in doing that. And so the Quality Champions was about having people to help hand out the lifebuoys, in fairness, but also to invent the lifebuoys, to find a way of being able to do something better. And that was a social movement. It wasn't particularly how we set it out or intended to, but that was kind of how it began. And so, as I was thinking about pledges, my second pledge was to find and always seek the shared purpose, the one that we have, and to continue it and to maintain it and refresh it. And it linked in with the fact that my first pledge was about not losing core values. Second pledge is to make sure that I remember them and refresh them for each of the people that are in our social movement. That's me. I was in Paris. I was lucky enough to be in Paris. That's at the top of the Octatrium. Now, that pledge is important to me in the same way as my first pledge. The third pledge was about social movement. It was about the fact that I value social movement. The more I understand, the more I think that that's important. We've begun to develop that here, but my pledge was to try and involve ourselves in social movements wherever we can find them, both to develop here and outside. Which is, of course, therefore, why when NHS Change Day was about, that became important to us too. And I encourage lots of other people to get involved in making pledges as well. It's also why I therefore value what's going on in NHS Change Day and wish to be here now. So part of my doing the do is actually doing the speech, or doing this talk to you. And so I wish to be involved in social movements, to understand them better so that I can help generate change, both in our organisations and outside. In a funny sort of way, my pledges for the future are as much about our organisation as our organisation joining in elsewhere. And as with all pledges, the fact is it's got to start with me. So I make my pledges. They were initially personal. I thought they would stay personal, but they're now shared. And that's okay, because that was part of the deal with the NHS Change Day. So I share, and now I do, and I hope to inspire too. Thank you, Jackie. I'm going to hand back the control, he says, flipping back out of his system, to you guys.
Better with us, please. Sorry, one of the presenters has dropped off, so I'll try and take over for now. 1 second.
Am I still going? I can't tell.
Yes, Martin, do carry on, please. Thank you.
Hello. I can't tell from my screen whether I'm still talking to you or not, but I can now. Hello. We've got Jackie.
Hello.
And Paul.
Hello, Martin. Yes, Martin, do carry on.
Okay, I think you're back on screen. I've no idea whether I'm still sharing my screen with you or not. Can I also say, to Mark, if he's still listening, I thought your pre-loved idea is absolutely fantastic. I love it. Well done.
Yeah, the screen share's ended. If you'd like to carry on with it, I can put it back on for you now. There's a glitch then for some reason, so I'll pass you the presenter ball back if you'd like to finish up.
Okay. Forgive me, Paul, before you do, how much did everybody hear? Did they hear all of that, or do you need me to repeat any of it?
I heard it all the way through. It's just we lost the presentation towards the end, I think. Can people just put in the chat box what if they felt differently, if people lost anything? No, it does look like it was just the picture that went there, Martin. So if I pass you back, you just carry on from where you'd left off. Thank you.
I've more or less, don't worry, I've finished. Don't worry, you don't need to hand me back particularly. I've told you the story I wanted to, and I'm aware of the fact that we've exceeded the 10 minutes.
Right, okay, that's fantastic. Thank you.
It seems unfair to carry on beyond the 10 minutes.
You're very democratic of you. Right, okay then. Well, thank you both for those presentations. Now, does anyone have any questions they'd like to ask? If people would like to either raise their hands or post them in the chat box.
Paul, I have a question, could I ask?
Yeah, if you'd like to ask.
Mark, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah. Just to ask you, really, this is a fantastic idea. Has it spread to other local hospitals in the area? Is it spreading widely around your part of the world? Do you have feedback from other hospitals?
I'm very keen on other hospitals getting involved, and we'd quite happily share the ideas with them. We've had a few expressions of interest, but don't know of any other hospital that's actually set up a scheme as involved as this. Certainly, hospitals do have recycling schemes, but I'm not sure about, as I say, something that's quite as involved with this. But we're very happy to share.
Thank you for that. We've retweeted your details, so you may get some people contacting you through Twitter to find out. I guess it's just starting off, isn't it? Other hospitals might think it's a fantastic idea, but it's just taking that initial first step of planning what you want to do, and then just taking that first step to go through it. And the local community, it sounds like you do have a lot of support from them. How did you actually start by generating that support from the local community?
We had some great people around us helping us. Michaela Firth, one person, she had some contacts and got us involved with the MK Dons. As soon as other people hear about these things happening, they latch onto it also. We want to engage with the local community, and we'll go out there and find these people to help us.
That's great then. Thank you for that feedback. Pip, I believe you're on there. Are there any conversations or questions taking place on Twitter?
Hi, Paul. Thank you. Just things like quiet this afternoon. I think there's quite a lot of appreciation for both Mark's and Martin's presentations. I certainly really love the idea of the 3 left items, but also the kind of the metaphor of the life voyage was really great. But no, I think it has been fairly quiet, apart from just general appreciation and people really expressing their gratitude for the things that are being shared and the time that people have taken. So I think it's been a really fantastic opportunity for many people to learn from the stories that we've listened to today. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Kit. Do we have any other questions from the line? You can just raise your hand. Kathy?
Yes, can I ask a question on behalf of Alice O'Neill, I think joined us on the chat. Is that about the quality champions and the badges? Is Martin still with us? Oh, it was just a question about... Hello, who's that? Is that Martin?
I'm Martin. Hello.
Yes, hi there. One of our participants on the chat room is commenting about the badges and saying what a fantastic idea that is.
Yeah, I love them too. They are things which we value enormously, because you wear them all the time, and everybody recognises them, and people will come and talk to you about it. They are well understood around the organisation. Everybody knows what they are and what they're for, and it's something which you've become proud of, and so it's a way of valuing the quality champion movement and making it something which is desirable. It's literally wearing a badge of the thing that you believe in, which for me is actually part of the sort of social movement process. It's wearing it on your sleeve. The badges cost almost nothing to produce, and they just identify us, and it's a very simple way of doing so. And you can print whatever you need to on it, so I can identify myself as who I am, but I'm instantly recognisable as a quality champion.
And a great way, I guess, of sharing this project, sharing this idea, encouraging other people to join in, encouraging people to ask questions, I guess, as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for that.
Okay, do we have any more questions from the chat or just people in general? If you can just raise your hand. No? Okay, so maybe if we just get some final reflections from the speakers. So, Martin, do you want to go first and get your final reflections?
It's good to be able to share my pledges, even though when I made them I thought that they were entirely personal. It's good to be able to share them. It's almost in a funny sort of way, a way of almost recommitting to them. I remember them specifically. It's good to share them because I remember them more, and they guide the decisions and the actions that I will make in the future. I think that it's a lasting pledge. It stays with me. And by talking about it more, it stays with me more. So it's great to share.
Great to hear. And Marc, how about you? Any final reflections from you and about your pledge? Marc, are you there?
Oh, hello. Yes, I'm still here.
Do you have any final reflections?
No, all I'll say to people is if you've got an idea, stick with it, relevant to your grade, carry it forward, make sure people hear your voice, and your ideas will come to fruition.
Okay, great. Well, thank you both very much for spending the time today to talk about your pledges in action.
Thank you.
So if everyone, thank you both. So if everyone can give both of them a virtual round of applause, that would be amazing. So again, how you do that, there's a little bubble with a check mark on it right beside the hand. Click on that and click on the applause button. Thank you both. We're going to take then a 10-minute break, and we'll be coming back to what I've been waiting for today. One of my own personal highlights, the virtual graduation, which will start in about 10 minutes from now. So if everyone wants to take a quick 10-minute break, we'll be back with virtual graduation.